Hi, I'm Chris Collier. I am the host of Conquer with Chris, the podcast you don't want to miss. Today I have a very great guest, Elliot Kaye. Elliot, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
So, Elliot, tell the people a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what you do.
So my name's Elliot Kaye and I live in the UK. So Elliot Kaye from the UK. And what I do is I work with business owners and entrepreneurs globally to help them use speaking as a marketing and growth strategy and to be more giraffe, which means to stand above the rest for the right reasons and get your customers to fall in love with you because you are more giraffe.
I could
have worn my giraffe outfit for this, but I'm not sure everybody's ready for that. So I don't always put it on.
If you did, you'd be spot on.
Next time, invite me back and I'll wear a giraffe outfit.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So Elliot, let's learn a little bit about you, how you grew up, how you came into this speaking, and how you came into giraffism.
Into giraffism. I'm head of giraffes. So I guess a little bit of my backstory is I think I'll tell you about three key points, right? So I think I grew up I didn't grow up with money. I had a workaholic mom and an alcoholic dad. And so my dad was very absent in my growing up. I didn't have a great relationship with him. And my mom worked very hard to put food on the table. My mom was very entrepreneurial, got to give it to her, but she was also a very good employee. And at the age of 12, this is a significant event number one, I suppose. I kind of foolishly got enticed by this guy who promised to get me laid, and he ended up sexually assaulting me. Something that I buried for years till I was 20. And then when I was 20, something triggered that off, and then I sought help and counseling around that. So that's kind of a step number one. But throughout that period, I was quite rebellious. As you can imagine, I had a lot of anger issues and resentment issues and, issues with authority. I almost got arrested once for assault, potential GBH, but in the end, it was nothing. I punched him in the face. He felt very sour about it. And then, but I wasn't a pleasant person for many years. Let's put it that way. Then I did the university thing. And then at the age of 25, I decided at the age of 21, I decided I wanted to be a professional dancer. So I gave up everything to become a dancer. And it's a typical fame story. I worked every night and the weekends to fund myself. I had no money. I had long hair and these big glasses. So I looked more like John Lennon than I did a dancer. And I pursued my career as a dancer to the age of 21. I got a scholarship for 2 years. And at the age of 25, I graduated a dancer. And then I started a touring life for 5 years. And then event number 3 is when I got injured. My lower back, I had a disc hernia, and that took me out of the game. And then again, I had to re-find myself, who I was, what I was. And I ended up doing a variety of jobs from there. And then I found myself in training. And then from training, I found myself studying coaching. And then I launched a coaching business. I was called the coach with the hat. You see, I have a thing with brands that are kind of catchy. I ran a seminar called Power to Succeed, which is the name of my 3rd book, one of my bestsellers. And, that really kind of took off. And then I then changed direction in 2015 to work strategically on businesses. And then in 2018, I actually got hit with pretty bad depression. For 7 months, I was depressed, and no one knew about it, not even my wife. And then when I came out of it, I went to a spiritual healer, and she was amazing. I couldn't tell you what we did in her sessions, but she was amazing. I came out of that, and then I went full-time into Speaker Express, because I've always been involved in Speaker Express for the last 10 years, but never full-time. And now I focused all my efforts on Speaker Express as well. So that's a nutshell of my story.
So you've had to pivot several times in your life.
Yes.
I think pivoting is key. I think it's something that people, other than when you were a child, when you're an adult, the times you had to pivot from dancing to other kind of business, from coaching to speaking, when you made those pivots, how do you know it was time to? The dancing was easy, right? Your back gave out. You couldn't do it anymore. But when you pivoted from one thing to another, how do you know that it was time to pivot?
I think the signs are always there when you need to pivot. So sorry, my daughter's just coming. Ariella, we're recording. There she is. Hello. Goodbye. Love you. Sorry about that, Chris. I actually tried to push her out the way and she
No,
kept
it's
going.
okay. It's okay. We can edit.
Okay, great. So to answer your question, sorry about that. Normally she's quite good at picking up the signs when I can't pick her up, but this time she didn't.
No worries.
Cool. You can edit that out. It's time. I think there's a lot of signs around you to indicate it's time to pivot. The first time I changed from coaching to strategy, I looked at the numbers and the numbers weren't great and they were starting to decline, and I was looking what else was going on. But also I looked inside, I was like, what did I really want to do? Where was my passion? Where was I being led to serve? And so from that, I was like, you know what? I've been doing that for 5 years. I'm burnt out from working with people on the confidence to launch businesses. Let's change direction, go into strategy. And that's what I did. And then again, when I came out of depression, I was a very different person. And it just wasn't aligned with me anymore. Even though the business was still doing very well, it's not something I wanted to do. And so then I moved full-time into working at Speaker Express, which I'd always worked on. But I think the signs are both internal and external, right? And I think one is, do you have the passion and the fight to keep going? Do you want to keep doing it? I guess Steve Jobs said it, when you look in the mirror too many days in a row and you don't see the person you want to see, it's time to change, or something like that. I'm probably butchering what he actually said, but it's that. And so that's when I knew it's time to pivot and time to change.
So you've come all this way, and now you're dealing with what? Like you still deal with speakers. So tell the people who are out there listening how kind of what you do now.
So now what I do, and I have done this for the last decade, but now I'm solely focused on it. Now I help business owners and entrepreneurs to really use speaking as a marketing strategy, as a growth strategy, as a positioning tool, right? I work with a lot of MDs, CEOs, and founders on how to pitch for investment. I work with investors to help them find opportunities. I work with coaches, trainers, and consultants, becoming the go-to person. But the way I do it is through speaking, through visibility strategies, because one of the greatest tools we have at our disposals is our voice, right? And our ability to communicate and to enroll people is what can differentiate us from the person saying exactly the same thing. We're all communicators. Everyone's communicating. There's no select few. Like, we're all communicating. You can either be a great communicator or a very bad communicator, or somewhere in the middle. The ones that win the market, the ones that win the narrative, the ones that really make the impact and the money are the ones that are really great communicators. And that's what I help a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs do. I help them really communicate on a whole giraffe level.
Yes. Speaking of giraffes, how did you come up with that?
So that's it's kind of one of those accidental things. So last year we did some research with our database, and we asked them, we're like, okay, what's your biggest problems and things like that. And we got an array of answers, but a lot of them, with the pandemic and the lockdown was, it's very noisy. I want to stand out from the noise. I want to be able to speak in my own voice. I want to be heard above the rest. And I was talking to my content girl, and I had the giraffe like this next to me. And I was like, you know what? I think people want to be more giraffe. And she went, that's such a great hashtag. That's such a great messaging. And so we built the whole Be More Giraffe, and then we built the Standout Academy. But that's where it came from. So now I'm literally, a lot of people keep tagging me in posts going, Elliot, I keep seeing giraffes and thinking of you. I'm like, all right, it's working. So we could really push that out. But in all seriousness, there's a very strong message behind it, to really stand above the noise and be seen for the right reasons. And speaking can really help you do that.
Yeah, because usually speakers get a platform, right? So they're put on stage, a platform. And people, like in crowd settings before Corona, and hopefully soon afterwards, people come to listen to a speaker, an orator, if you will. And it's a truly marvelous way to market people. So if you're dealing with someone who's brand new, they don't even understand red ocean, blue ocean. They don't understand marketing plan. They just think they want to start a business. How would you deal with that person? What would you tell them first step should be?
Just generally in business?
Yeah, let's say they're doing something online, or what would your words of advice for them to be? What would you say to them?
I'd say a few things. I'd say, first of all, please have a passion for what you want to do, but understand that passion isn't sustainable. So you can't build a business on passion alone. So I would say really love and care and make sure there's a business there, because not everything we're passionate about is a business, right? There are people that are passionate about chewing gum underneath tables, but that's not a business, right? So make sure you have a passion. Make sure there's people that are willing to pay for what you want to build. The other thing is, I'd say, is know your ideal customer for the problem or for the product that you want to build. So yes, a lot of businesses are innovative and they're ahead of their time. Then you have to understand, when will the market catch up? But equally, there's problems you can solve right now that people will pay for. But know your ideal client. Then I would say is really do some testing, really test the water. Don't just go ahead and launch. Test the water, learn the mistakes, fail fast, fail forward, right? And then build from there. And understand that people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 5. And everyone's like, oh, because everyone's obsessed with the unicorn overnight, boom. And the reason why it's a unicorn business is because it's so rare. You can build a great business within, the 6-figure space, and you can build a very profitable business within the 1 million to 10 million place. And above that, everyone seems obsessed to be that business that changed and disrupted the market. The thing is, with the businesses that changed and disrupted the market, often they didn't intend to. They just, it went that way. Then they became that, right?
Right. And then also some of them, they get replaced real quick.
Exactly.
Like I think about one that comes to mind just as you were saying that was Blockbuster Video.
Right.
They were huge here in the States. And they got replaced by Netflix because they couldn't adapt and change. They couldn't pivot like you pivoted, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were an iconic brand and lost to an up-and-comer because they couldn't stay with the times. They wouldn't fail fast and fail forward. They thought, you get locked into a thought process and you refuse to go forward. So would you want to speak to now as far as what you do? You said business owners. So speak to those business owners and tell them what you do.
What I do is I work with the business owner to be more giraffe, to stand above the noise through the use of public speaking. So the way we would do that, it depends where they are, but we would look at what is their positioning piece? How do they stand out? And then how do they stand there and communicate their brand message, their message and their service in a way that enrolls their ideal clients, that enrolls their audience? That's how I would work with them. We would work on delivery, but we also work on language, and we would work on structure. We'd look at where are the places they need to be seen? Where are those places they need to show up? What virtual summits do they go to? What Facebook groups do they need to speak on? And we'd really get very targeted with where they spend their time speaking. Because if you think you can do a 45-minute presentation and hit 100 or 1,000 people versus a one-to-one conversation, it's such an effective use of your time. However, we would teach them a structure to deliver in a way that enrolls people to want to buy from them. And that's where I would come in. And that's literally what I would do.
Wow, that's great. That's right. Great. And what social media platforms are you on? Where can people find you?
So I'm on the gram, the Insta of grams. I have 3 handles on there, actually. So I've got stand_out_academy, and that's for the giraffe stuff. I have I am Elliot Kaye, which is more for me, my kids, my lifestyle. And then we've got Speaker Express one, which is the name of my business. And those are the 3 on Instagram. I'm on Clubhouse. I am Elliot Kaye. I won't worry about Twitter too much. I don't give it much attention. And then Facebook, right? And then Facebook as well. So those are the best channels to find me.
Great. Hey, do you have a quote you'd like to share with the people?
Here's the quote I love to share with people. You ready? Hell is dying and meeting the person you could have been.
Wow, that's pretty profound.
I know, right? That is my quote.
I think about the quote. I can't remember who said it, but they said the grave is full of hopes and dreams that have never been realized. The grave is the richest place in the world. Don't contribute to the grave.
Yeah. Don't die with your dream in your heart.
Yeah. And to use a sports reference, I would say, leave it all on the field. The field of life. Leave it all here. Don't leave anything left. So I want to thank Elliot Kaye for being on today.
My pleasure.
Please like, subscribe, and share. And remember, it's Conquer with Chris, the podcast you don't want to miss. Thank you so much.